So uphill stick welding with 7018 was probably one of the hardest things to master when I was first learning how to stick weld. So if you want to know the exact strategy that changed my welds from looking like this to this, make sure to stick around because any of the three things that I'll be explaining today could make all the difference. So in order to do this, we need to get ready, set, and then go. So these are actually the three things we'll be going over today. So the first one here is that you need to get ready. So this is all about getting yourself in a position that's comfortable so you're not fighting yourself when you're welding. Now when you're practicing here, especially if you're a beginner, I would recommend eliminating as much of your body as possible. So for example, try sitting down if you can. This helps your lower body get more relaxed and comfortable. And then with your upper body, try propping yourself against something to get even more comfortable. And now the only two things that are left are your arms. So the next thing I'd like to get figured out here is how you're actually going to feed this rod when you're welding. There's a few ways you can do this. The way I prefer is holding the stinger with my one arm and then grabbing the rod with my two fingers on my other arm. This helps me get a clean start and helps steady the rod when it's at full length. And then I might keep my fingers on the rod to help steady it while I'm welding. But as the rod gets shorter, I'll pull that hand away and use it to steady my feeding hand as I finish off the rod. Now another way you can do this is just gripping your stinger with your one hand and then just steadying that hand with your other hand. Then as you're welding, you're slowly moving your arms as you're burning up the rod. Now it's up to you how you want to stay steady and prop yourself, but I always recommend doing a couple dry runs to make sure your arm isn't going to get in the way or trip you up mid-weld. So the next part of this is set. So this is actually an acronym for settings, eyes, and technique. So for finding settings, if your machine has a dig or arc force setting, usually only newer machines have this. Basically, it keeps your rod from sticking at a really close arc length, which is nice, but having this too high will actually make the arc a little bit more aggressive, and it's hard to get that smooth bead profile. So for 7018 here, I'm just going to set this a little lower, around 20%, so I have a little punch to keep the rod going, but the arc is still smooth, so I can still get a decent looking bead. For finding the correct amount of amps for this scenario, always start with the amperage range that's recommended for the rod that you're using. So for example, I'm using a 332 7018 rod, and the amperage range that this rod is good for is around 65 amps on the low end and 100 amps being on the high end of what this rod can run. Now with rod ranges like this, I don't normally like to run the rods at either extreme. So for example, like 100 amps, I don't really run it at 100 amps or anything hotter than that. And anything less, honestly, than 75 amps here for this rod, it just doesn't run good, and I just don't normally run the rod anything lower than that. Now, there are exceptions, but that's how I generally look at it. So in general, the amps you use for the vertical position here are going to be colder than what you would normally run in the flat position, because you're fighting gravity now, and you want to be able to control that puddle better. But this all depends on the thickness of the metal that I'm welding. So on thicker metal, I'll crank this up a bit to around 90 amps. And then on thinner metal, I'll turn this down to around 80 amps so I don't overheat the material. So if you're new to 7018 vertical welding, I would recommend starting with 5 to 10 amps colder than what you would normally run in the flat position. When you're setting your amps in your situation, what you want to shoot for is to run hot enough so you can keep a really tight arc length, but cool enough to where you can still control the puddle and it's not getting out of hand. And honestly, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't get too crazy worried about getting your amp super dialed in because 90% of your issues are probably going to be coming from these next few things I'll be going over here. So issues like undercut, bulged out bead appearance, and just an overall inconsistent bead most likely stems from these next couple things not being done correctly. So once you have your settings and your heat set right, your eyes and technique are going to be super key to get on point here. Now, with your eyes and what you're actually looking at when you're welding plays a huge role in what your welds will look like. This was a big mistake I was making when I was first learning how to stick weld. You want to make sure to be watching the puddle, which is right here, and not the flux dripping down, which is here. This is something that really tripped me up when I was first learning because I would get confused and be course correcting my technique according to what the flux was doing and that puddle was doing instead of what the actual weld puddle was doing. So my welds would be spiraling out of control because what I was basing all my technique off of was an inaccurate depiction of what was actually happening. So make sure you are watching the actual weld puddle that's being formed underneath the welding rod arc and not the flux melting. So the last part here is technique. Now, technique is broken up into three things: rod angle, travel speed, and arc length. So with your rod angle in this position, you always want your rod pointing slightly upward, roughly 10 to 15 degrees. And what I like to do here is insert my rod in the X portion of the stinger, so it holds the rod in a pointed up direction like this. This really helps keep your rod at the right angle when you're welding. As far as travel speed goes, you don't want to go too fast with this. You need to give that puddle time to get established and latch onto the sides of the joint. Now there is a line there and you don't want to go too slow with this, but in general, the slower the better. Now with your arc length, this is a very key thing to get here. This will give you a lot of control with the puddle when you're in this position and will really help you out here. Now, just listen to this clip here where I purposely go back and forth between a long arc length and then shorten it up. You can drastically hear and see the difference that it makes with the control of your puddle. So if you're a beginner, a big thing to focus on here is your arc length and keeping that rod fed into the puddle nice and tight. This is something I struggled with a lot when I was first learning how to stick weld in the vertical position. So once you get those three parts of technique working together, the general movement you want to do with the rod is just a slight side-to-side movement and pause slightly on the sides. But you don't want to go crazy with this, just enough to spread out the puddle and make it latch onto the sides easier. So as you can see, there's a lot of things happening all at once here, and this takes a lot of practice to master. So that's the last part of this here, and that is to do just that, which is to go. The old cliche saying, practice makes perfect, really applies here. So if you want to learn a valuable fabrication skill, you can watch this video right here.